James, you wear a lot of hats. You're a veteran and household chef, a self-taught barber and dream chaser and student. You're an ander. At National University, we see the whole you. That's why we've created online and hybrid programs that flex to help you balance your full life so you can focus on what's right in front of you. National University, supporting the whole you. Learn more at nu.edu.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Happy Friday, everybody. We are just a day out from the official start of the NBA and NHL postseasons. We're also less than a week out from the NFL draft. So much to get to as we welcome you into this Friday edition of Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network, Sirius XM channel 158. I'm Stormy Buonantony, live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Alongside today, the prop queen, Ariel Epstein, out in NYC. And Ariel, I know you are year-round a big NBA bettor. You dive into all the props, all the different markets. I am not typically a big NBA bettor, but this is the time where me and I know a lot of other casual fans or casual NBA bettors dive in hard, and I am all into the NBA playoffs. We are so close, and we've got a couple play-in games tonight.
A couple playing games tonight, so win or go home. The NBA playoffs I always complain about. The regular season is where you can make your money. There's so many props, so many players, so many games. When you get to these playoffs, it no longer matters the numbers. It matters matchups. It matters what the coaches say. It's the only time of year that I actually may watch press conferences and believe what the coaches say. It's the only sport, Stormy, where I think what a coach says at a press conference matters.
It's like every now and then you catch those where it's important, but you are dead on. Like this time of year, it's different. And with that, let's actually dive right into the NBA play in one of many things that we've got to talk about today on Money Moves. So producer Brian Ortega, if you would, please fire up the rundown for us.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the rundown.
So as for these play-in games today, Memphis holding steady as a 6.5 point favorite against the Mavs, total 221 there. Flip of favorites at some books for Hawks Heat, Ariel, albeit a 1 point spread either way. Atlanta opened the favorite. In some cases, they still are. We've got some pick'ems. We've got somewhere Miami is a 1 point favorite, total 220.5. But you said it, winner take all for those 8 seeds in the East and West. Loser goes home.
Something tells me that this spread is telling us we're not going to get a blowout like we did in the Bulls Heat game, Stormy.
Yes, which would be nice because those games on Wednesday were, I don't want to say boring, but that's what it was. We'll get into that. Our guy Will Hill, who's going to join us later on this hour, has some best bets in not only the play-in games today, but the various playoff series in round one. Also, one MLB bet he really liked on the card. Speaking of which, full slate today, Ariel, 15 games, all 30 teams in action. I know you'll have plenty for us there as well.
Absolutely. So many strikeout props. We've got one day baseball game because it's a Friday. Fridays mean day games at Wrigley Field. Got a good matchup too because you've got an ace on the mound with Corbin Burns and it's Corbin Burns. And we've got some really good pitching matchups too, like Phillies game, Philly and Miami. You've got a Cy Young winner, Cy Young runner-up, Zach Wheeler, Sandy Alcantara. You've also got Rangers and Dodgers tonight. Jacob deGrom, is this going to be his best game since the season-ending injury, like 5 years in a row? That's an exaggeration. Maybe. So it's really fun in Major League Baseball today.
Yeah, we'll fully dive into that in about 15 minutes. And because you mentioned the game at Wrigley, we have a game, ladies and gentlemen, that is not at Colorado, that is not at Sacramento, that has a run total of 11. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll also have VSiN's own Mike Palm, VP of Operations here at Circa Resort and Casino, stop by in studio in hour 2. They put up yesterday here at Circa a handful of NFL draft player position props. So excited to hear his and Circa's philosophy on booking the NFL draft. Plus, we didn't get to it last week, but we will find out his favorite teams to buy in on or fade when we get to the NHL postseason. We'll dive more into NHL at the very end of this hour as well with Andy Francess when he joins the show. Has a full docket of NHL playoff series previews in depth on his YouTube channel right now. Excited for that conversation. And then last but certainly not least, in our top 5 items here today on the rundown, is that something you might might be interested in. Brian Ortega, our producer here, putting on his sleazy used car salesman hat, trying to give us some prompts of a couple bets he wants to sell us. So might we be interested or disgusted by the plays? I don't know yet. We'll have to see when we get there, Ariel.
Yeah, I'm excited for that segment. I always love when someone asks me. It's like any kind of group chat when you do any live shows on social media. These people are asking you all the time, hey, do you like this? Do you like that? And I'm like, no, I told you already in the first hour of the show what I liked. So yes. I guess we'll see if Brian Ortega has any of the similar ones.
Yeah, we'll see. Real quickly, before we get into these play-in games, I just want to get on my soapbox a little bit. And I did yesterday at the end of the show. But one last time, I'm going to make my plea to sportsbook operators. Circa, DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, whoever it is, give me odds on the NCAA Gymnastics Championships. Please, we have the field for the national championship on Sunday officially set as of yesterday. Utah, UCLA, Oklahoma, and Mizzou all coming through. The top seed, the LSU Tigers, defending champions, they got knocked out yesterday. I am a huge Utah gymnastics fan, a girl that I did gymnastics with. My mom coached for a long time. She is a coach on the team. She used to be competitive for them. They led the way yesterday, clinched their 5th straight appearance with the top score of the day from Fort Worth. They were 3rd going into the final rotation, and a handful of their girls, notably Grace McCollum, just crushed it on bars for them to take the win. And so I just wish that I could bet this coming up on Saturday, Ariel, but they won't give me the opportunity. How do we have darts? How do we have cornhole championships? How do we have all this stuff, but you can't give me some gymnastics?
I'll tell you why. And I'm a huge gymnastics fan. I did gymnastics my whole life. It's subjective. That's the problem. It's the same way that the books won't give us the slam dunk contest odds. Some do, but for the most part, it's so hard to find.
So here's my one argument for it. If you don't want to give me like individuals and all-arounds and events, that's fine. But for the team scores, because you knock off the top score and the bottom score, and it's a middle to average for each event, I feel like that's more reasonable to give us that opportunity. So that's just my 2 cents about it. No one's going to listen to me anyways, but worth noting. That's it.
Do you want over-under on averages, or you just want to pick the teams that might be like podium finishes, et cetera?
Yeah, I just want to pick podium finishes. But if you want to give me a full board, I'll take that too. But I'm just saying, give your girl some options. Let's get into these play-in games today. Heat, Hawks. We mentioned the line movement already, but virtual coin flip game here. I kind of like Miami, and I do see why the line has moved that direction at a handful of books. But what do you see? What stood out to you here?
Offense versus defense. I always hate these matchups. I guess as much as defense always wins championships, I'm very concerned for the offense for the Heat, because you've actually got a guard on the Atlanta side in Dyson Daniels that can defend against Tyler Hero. Hero was the hero in the game against the Bulls. So if you lose his offense against Dyson Daniels, you're relying then on Bam Adebayo to hopefully give you a 25 to 30 point game. It's why I like Bam's points prop. There's just nobody on the other side for Atlanta that can match up against him. I mean, we're talking Okongwu, Niang. I can't think of anybody that would be able to go and defend Bam Adebayo. So I would lean Bam over points, but I lean Atlanta. So we're probably on opposite sides, even though it goes against everything I feel about defenses winning championships.
Interesting. Yeah, and like the Heat might not have playoff Jimmy Buckets anymore, but they do have playoff Bam. I'm excited to see what he can do today. They do have a handful of players who know how to win important games when you get to this stage of the postseason. I trust Eric Spoelstra. I feel like he'll have this team ready to go, ready to play. And my gut tells me they're the more talented top to bottom team, as long as you can contain Trae Young, which we'll see if that can happen or not, but that's kind of my thought process. No real play on the total here. But what about Mavs Grizzlies? Spread 6. Are there still 6.5s left, or are we just at the flat 6? Flat 6 is what I'm largely saying. Total 221. Winner will face OKC. And I don't know about you, I really wish the Mavs had Kyrie available, because him and AD would be really fun to see what they could do. Regardless, did look dominant at Sacramento as a dog on Wednesday. Do you think they can do it again?
I like Dallas. This is another matchup between the Grizz and the Mavericks of offense versus defense, except in this case, the Dallas defense is so big with AD there that I can't see anyone in Memphis scoring in the paint like they usually do. That's exactly what the bread and butter is. There's so many off the field issues too with Memphis. They've been fighting on the bench. They don't have a coach. You go to the Dallas side, you've got a bunch of experienced players. We're talking championship level players like Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson. You get those two players going up against an inexperienced Memphis team with a ton of drama. I'm going to take the Mavs.
So you mentioned the drama here with Memphis. There's been a lot of talk about that with the Denver Nuggets as well as they moved on from Michael Malone. And so much so, we've seen a huge market shift in that series with the Nuggets and Clippers to the point where I wonder, do you think that it's a little bit too much now? Do you have any hesitation about all of the public Clippers sentiment at this point, or do you agree with that thought process?
So I obviously loved the Clippers when they were the dogs in the series. Just thought it was a complete misprice. Obviously, the Nuggets have proven themselves time and time again the last 2 years. The Clippers defense has been so good. And yeah, you're talking off the court drama. It was the right move. I've spoken to a lot of people who are close to the NBA and especially the Denver Nuggets. They brought Nikola Jokic into the conversation before they fired Malone. It was the right move. The Nuggets players were just all fed up and done with Malone and his ways. So, yeah, they moved on, and it's great for the team, except they did it way too late. They did it right before the Nuggets firing him before the playoffs. So can you make those adjustments properly? Probably not in time. I know they're experienced, but we haven't seen the old Jamal Murray. And, again, the Nuggets, at this point, from what I've heard, their eyes are on next year.
Yeah, but maybe that, to your point, could create a betting advantage for the Los Angeles Clippers here, who I bet them at plus 120, and they were a plus money price for a while now. Now I see as high in the market as minus 125, them favored in the series.
Isn't it so hard when you do these shows, Stormy, and you want to tell people, of course, this is the side I like the Clippers, but you just feel so bad. It's like when you scam someone, you feel like you're scamming them because they lost, like they didn't get the good number.
I know, and it's like, I still like it. I bet it because I believe they're going to win the series, but it's so hard to stomach now when you don't have the plus money price anymore. It's very frustrating. That said, we're just getting started here on Money Moves. So much more to get into. Coming up next, we're going to deep dive into the MLB slate, all 30 teams in action, where Ariel thinks a bet might be worth placing.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Money Moves on a Friday, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, alongside the prop queen, Ariel, Epstein, Stormy, Buonantony with you. Time to dive into a little Major League Baseball here. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll have VSiN's own Will Hill get some of his thoughts on the NBA play-in, first-round series, a whole bunch of different stuff. But I want to start with you here on your Yankees, who are taking on the Rays today. They swept the Royals entering this week, opened the 4-game road set in Tampa with the win yesterday, 6-3. Rays got out to a 3-1 lead after 3, and then Yankees come back. And I wanted to ask you about this because I feel like that's been kind of thematic for the Yankees lately, where the other team feels like the right side for a good chunk of the game, and then the Yankees end up coming back to win.
This happens to me. This is, I think, the second time this year that I've stupidly bet against my own team and lost. Hey, in my defense, 2 days ago, I bet the Royals against the Yankees when the Royals were trying to avoid a sweep. The Royals should have won that game. Cody Bellinger made a great catch in right field. They had the bases juiced multiple times and couldn't drive in runs. The Yankees also got an Aaron Judge homer out of it, so that's why the Royals didn't win that fishy line of the day. Now, here's where the Yankees have a problem. The Yankees yesterday started Will Warren, who it was his first, today is Will Warren. Yesterday was Clark Schmidt. Am I getting my days right?
Today is right. Carlos Rodon.
Oh, right. Yesterday was Will Warren. The day before was Schmidt. So the problem with that is Rodon is erratic. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is the bullpen is a complete mess. You've had so many Yankees now already go, like Yarbrough just pitched 56 pitches yesterday. Tim Hill threw 23 yesterday, and Ian Hamilton threw 20 yesterday. That was all because you had Will Warren go, who can't really go past 5. The day before was Clark Schmidt's first game back for the Yankees. He started, but it was his first game. So you had Fernando Cruz go 27 pitches, which was 47 pitches in 2 of those 3 days. And then Mark Leiter went 15. So the Yankees bullpen, if we continue to throw these pitchers that can't get out of the 5th inning, you're going to be in trouble soon. And that's what we're seeing. Carlos Rodon has not been good this year. Carlos Rodon, I was looking at his last few games, and he's been allowing like 4 or 5 runs a game. Pulling up his stats right now. He allowed 4 runs to San Francisco, 5 earned runs to Detroit, 4 earned runs to Arizona. That's his April. It's disgusting. So eventually, if he continues on this path against a Rays team in a hitter's park at Steinbrenner Field, it's going to be a big problem for the Yankees and their bullpen, Stormy.
So that's why I played the Rays today. But it's interesting, the Yankees, because of what we laid out at the top and just the way they've kind of been the wrong side but snuck out and still ultimately won, we've seen some big line movement in this game just this morning. Tampa Bay actually opened a -115 favorite. Now they're the even money home dog with the Yankees getting bet out to 120. So very interesting there. Let's go to the first game of the day coming up, the Diamondbacks and Cubs, Corbin Burnes versus Colin Rea. And Diamondbacks were -122 this morning. They're down to -112 right now. So I think the Cubs, when you were able to get that slight plus money price, people wanted to back them in this spot. The run total up from, I mentioned 11 last segment. It was juiced to the over. We're at 11.5 now at a handful of books.
It's crazy how good these offenses have been this year. Only the Yankees have a higher team OPS than the D-backs and the Cubs across Major League Baseball. So the D-backs and the Cubs combined for 48 runs in splitting a 4-game set in Phoenix to begin the domestic slate. So it's pretty crazy to think these two teams are doing this well. Now the Cubs have actually scored more runs on the road this year than even at home. And I'd have to see what the updated weather looks like in Wrigley. But, you know, if the wind's blowing out with these two offenses, it's going to be interesting. And Corbin Burnes
Ariel,
has not had that great of a start.
Real quickly, that is what I see. Like after all the cold and snowiness that we've had out there, it's going to be 80 degrees at Wrigley, wind blowing out 20 to 25 miles an hour in center field.
Whew, that's your 11 run total right there.
Yeah. So there you go. But continue your
thoughts.
It's
a little surprising with Corbin Burnes, but again, these offenses have been so good.
Any other thoughts on that game? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure you got the weather report. I even see gusts up to 40.
I don't have a play in the game. I was looking at Corbin Burnes under his strikeout prop at 5.5. I saw it at -130. He faced one other low K rate team this year. That was Washington. He had 3 strikeouts in 5 innings. In the past, like last year, for example, Burnes averaged just under 5 strikeouts a game when facing low K rate teams. The Cubs, even though they struck out a lot last year, Burnes only struck out 5 Cubs in 6 innings. But overall this year, the Cubs, 12 of the 16 righties to face the Cubs have gone under their strikeout prop this season, averaging just over 4 strikeouts a game. If you want a prop, I would take the under on the Corbin Burnes strikeout.
One game I know you do have investment in later on this evening, late afternoon. Reds, Orioles going head-to-head. Baltimore -170 favorite. Run total in this one, 9.5. What were you looking to?
Cade Povich, the starter for the Orioles, who probably nobody knows about, take his over 4.5 strikeouts. He's a lefty, and lefties this year against Cincinnati averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game. So this number being 4.5 already feels low for a home pitcher. Povich has faced one other team that strikes out a lot this year, and that was the Red Sox. His first start of the season, he had 8 punch-outs in just 4 1/3 innings. Going back to last season, Povich against high K rate teams averaged just under 6 strikeouts a game. That number went to about 6.5 strikeouts a game when at home at Camden Yards. So I would look to Cade Povich over 4.5 Ks. I just don't think that the book has caught on yet to the Cade Povich train because he's coming off back-to-back games where he threw 2 and 4 strikeouts, but those were lower K rate teams.
The Braves, it feels like they're struggling to buy wins this season. Just 5 for them on the year. They are coming up back-to-back losses to lose their series against the Blue Jays. Now they begin a 3-game set with the Minnesota Twins. They are at home in Atlanta. Anything that stands out to you in this series or game 1 coming up today where we see, where's the price? The price -148 right now for Bryce Elder on the hill for the Braves. Chris Paddock starting for the Twins, run total 8.
That line's definitely moving in favor of Atlanta. It's Chris Paddock for Minnesota, that's why. And Bryce Elder's good, just not good enough to potentially strike out 5 batters on the Twins side. So I'm going to take the under on Elder's strikeout prop today. He's only had 2 other starts this year. It was the Dodgers and the Rays. Neither strike out that much either. He hadn't gone over 4.5 yet. Last year, 3 outings against low K rate teams, never went over 4 Ks. Now he's getting the Twins, who this season, righties, again, 12 of 16 have gone under their strikeout prop. They're averaging just under 4 strikeouts to start against the Twins. The Twins are a team like last year, and Stormy, you probably know this a lot from other sports, when a team did a lot of things last year and then they do like the opposite the year after, that whole, like the book doesn't catch on for the first few weeks of the year. So you have to really ride these trends. It's happening with the Athletics. It's happening with the Twins. It's happening with the Cubs. These were all teams, the Mariners too. These were all teams that struck out a ton last year. This season, barely at all. The books, they're slowly getting there because they're starting to overly juice some of these numbers. The Twins are still a team, though, that I would ride this under for Bryce Elder today.
Yeah, continue to see where you can find those advantages in the market. Last couple of minutes here, any other games that, as you were going through, stood out, whether it be a prop, and I know that we will recompile all of our best bets later on at the end of the show, but from an MLB standpoint, we mentioned it off the top, lots of options here. So anything else you want to make sure you get out now?
People are going to think I'm absolutely insane, but insanity has been working this early in the season, like Spencer Strider under 6.5 strikeouts. It cashed. The fishy line of the day, the Dodgers and the Rangers. Oh, I'm hoping, just for the sake of baseball, that this fishy line is correct, because I would love nothing more than to see Jacob deGrom have his first signature win since coming off injury. So the line moved already about 10 to 15 cents in favor of the Rangers overnight. I saw the line go from plus 122 last night to around plus 110 today. That means the line moved minus 144 to around minus 130 on the Dodgers. Of course the public's on the Dodgers. 85 to 90% of action is coming in on the mighty Dodgers that are never going to lose in the course of 162 games? Yeah, right. So here's why the line's probably moving in favor of the Rangers. They lead the American League in rotation ERA, 3.17, perfect 5-0 in one-run games. Their 3.86 team ERA is 13th in baseball. Per Fangraphs, the Rangers, they're averaging just under 3 base running runs, and that's the 3rd best in Major League Baseball and leads American League. Dodgers, they might hit home runs. They are less active on the bases. In fact, the only team with fewer steals than the Dodgers is the Rockies. And the Rangers, they've won 9 of 10 at home this year. So that's why you're seeing this reverse line movement in favor of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, Rockies, last I checked, not good at baseball. There we go.
You do not want to be in a stat with them.
No, you do not. You do not. Reminder, everybody, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for us as bettors, ensuring any and all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cash back rewards. Got 100% approval for any and all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet and use our promo code MONEY. Deposit $25. Edge Boost is going to match that deposit for you. Again, head over to edgeboost.bet. That's edgeboost.bet. When we come back here on Money Moves, VSiN's own Will Hill is going to stop by. I know he has an MLB play, coincidentally involving the Rockies. So we'll hit that and the NBA after this.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
I know if you're listening to us here at VSiN, you're betting on sports, so why not try the races as well? First Bet lets you wager on hundreds of horse races each and every day from top tracks across the country and around the world when you sign up at firstbet.com today. That's the number one, stbet.com. And use our promo code VSiN200. That'll help you claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days, up to $200. Head over to firstbet.com today. That as we welcome you back here to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, alongside Ariel, Epstein, Stormy, Buonantony with you. Very excited to welcome in our good friend Will Hill on the Progressive Guest Line, host of the Should Have Bet More podcast. You can catch him on the Bear Bets pod as well with Chris the Bear Felica and the Fox Sports podcast family of networks. Will, how are you today? Are you playing ready?
I'm ready. I'm over the playing game. First of all, I hope this segment can be as entertaining as the between break conversation. That's a high bar to live up to. But no, I'm over the playing. We put too many teams in, way too many teams. We don't need the Heat and the Bulls and the Kings. Just I know why they do it. Extra revenue, extra money. All these sports are adding playoff teams. But and if you're going to do it, just do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, Stormy, how I always complain about these schedules. It was weird having no game last night. Just punish these teams that are in the 9-10, punish the teams that lose, and get on with it. I think it drags out too much, but I do have a play in one of those games. I'm excited for the playoffs. Tomorrow is a great day. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, full baseball card. Weather's getting a little better back east here, so it's a fun time of year for sure. Draft right around the corner. I love it.
So why are you in UNC gear right now?
Only a hat. The hoodie is not UNC specific.
You're in complete UNC colors.
You are.
Colors, yes. I just came back from Carolina. I probably put on about 20 pounds in the 4 or 5 days I was there. I did see our buddy Lombardi. Hadn't really talked to him much since he took the job in December. But we were in the area, went to a North Carolina baseball game. We were able to stop by the office. He seems happy. He seems certainly busy. But it was nice to catch up.
Ariel, it's funny you bring that up because I was just thinking that you must miss the Lombardi line so much that you're trolling me because last week you wore the Lombardi line zip up and now you've got North Carolina. So I'm just getting trolled.
Yes.
Oh, Brian actually has a picture of some of that barbecue you were getting into. That looks insane, my man. That's awesome.
It was good. It was really good. For anyone that's never been down south, man, the barbecue is just it's incredible. It's unlike anything other parts of the country.
What was the name of this place?
It was so good. It was City Barbecue. I think it's a chain down there, but man, the ribs, smoked wings. I know we'll get to sports betting here at some point, but maybe this is something that people find more interesting. The food there, just man, I'm going to need to hit the treadmill for a little bit, hit the bike because that was quite an eventful trip in terms of the food.
Shout out to Sup Dogs, by the way, out in Chapel Hill and in Greenville. Those people are my people. One of the best bars in America. I'll ask you some NBA. Why not? Unders have really been the trend in these play-in games. My problem is that if you don't get to these numbers fast enough, they're gone. So what do you advise bettors to do if you like unders in these spots?
Yeah, I like the one I like tonight more than anything, Heat Hawks. I like that one more than the Western Conference game, although if I had to play both of them, I would play both of them under. I just think the familiarity of these teams playing in the same division as each other lends itself to an under. Miami plays good defense. Miami likes to play slow. If I had to pick a winner, I guess I would just go with the fact that Miami's got the better coach, and they've got the two all-star-ish players in Adebayo and Hero. And Hero was tremendous the other night, although that Bulls defense did not provide much resistance. So life on the line, I would pick Miami to win. I do think it's an under, though. Like I said, Miami plays slow. They play good D. There's familiarity here. There's the intensity of a winner-go-home game. Winner goes to the playoffs, loser's done. So I think that naturally lends itself to more defense, more methodical possessions on offense. So I will go under. That's ticked back up, too. It opened 221. I was on the air when that Bulls-Heat game went final, and this matchup was finalized here. It was 221, ticked down to like 219, 220-ish. Or so. I think it even got as low as 218, but we're back to where it started. So I do like the under here.
VSiN betting analyst and host of the Should Have Bet More podcast, Will Hill, joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Let's get to some of these first round series that are set right now. And Ariel and I were talking a little bit earlier about the public sentiment that has come on the Los Angeles Clippers against the Nuggets, given the dysfunction, firing of the head coach, all of that. You're actually fading that thought process for a good plus money prop bet. What do you like here on Denver?
Yeah, I think we're in for some great series in the West. The Thunder are going to roll whoever wins tonight, but the other three series are great. We'll get to this one. I understand the sentiment for the Clippers. They ended the season 15-2. They've got Kawhi, who's seemingly healthy. They're a really good team. I have trust issues with the Clippers. I have trust issues with anyone who trusts the Clippers. How could you trust this team? I know you love Kawhi, Stormy, and how could you not as a player? Every year we get the tweet, oh, Kawhi's done for the postseason. Kawhi's not coming back. Kawhi's knees bother him or this is bothering him. I just have a hard time trusting them, and I think Denver is being slept on. They still have the best player in the world, and they still have the seventh game potentially at home. So I think this is a good series, a long series. We'll see what they can get out of Murray. I don't put too much stock in the fact that the coach got fired. You could use that to your handicap or, as a reason to pick the Clippers. I don't look at it as either. Denver was pretty good to close the season. Once they did fire Malone, they got a little boost, a little bump. So I think this is a long series. I think this goes 7. There's so many ways to play the series, and you can get bang for your buck. I'm going to go Denver, correct series score, 4-3. So Denver wins in 7. You can get plus 375. There's a plus 350 out there, but I think the plus 375 is at Fanatics for those of you who are allowed to bet at Fanatics, which is not many people. I think Denver wins a long series. Should be a good one.
The Rockets series, you're looking at a price there. What do you like?
I took the Rockets plus a game and a half. It's really remarkable, the Warriors' longevity, because these teams met in the playoffs 3 times in 4 years, from 2015 to 2018, twice in the conference finals. And here we are a decade later, the Warriors still with Curry, with Draymond, with Kerr. So it's remarkable, their longevity. But I think the Rockets have some advantages here in terms of size, youth. They're physical. I do think it helps Golden State that you get 2 days off between games 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. But as the series goes on, then it's every other day. And I just think that favors a younger, more athletic, more physical Rockets team. I think this is going to be a very feisty series because we know how Draymond and Butler, they can be intense. The Rockets don't back down. Udoka is a fiery guy. They've got some guys that are looking that aren't afraid to back down on their team too. So I think this is a long series. I just don't quite have the guts to pick against Curry and Kerr and Butler. I'm going to go with the Warriors winning in 7, but taking the Rockets plus a game and a half is nice insurance there, where if the Rockets win the series, you win your bet. If it goes 7, you win your bet. I think we're looking at a long series here too. I'll take the game and a half with Houston.
I'm sensing a trend here in the way that you're approaching some of these series. You're anti the public teams, like we're talking about the Clippers, the Warriors, and now another one that I see that you are interested in is the Lakers. So you're taking the Timberwolves plus the game and a half in that series as well. Do you think they're a little bit underrated in this set?
I do. I was surprised the Lakers are almost a $2 favorite. At the end of the day, it's similar to the Warriors, where I just have a hard time picking against LeBron and Luka in a possible game 7, especially when they're at home and they're going to get to the foul line a million times. But Minnesota is really good. They're athletic. I don't know who guards Edwards. I guess it's Finney-Smith. But to me, and this is similar to the Rockets-Warriors series too, where it's every other game. Once you get past game 3, you get 2 days off between games 1 and 2 and 3, and then it's every other, which can LeBron at 40 at his age hold up to that every other day of the schedule type of nature? I think ultimately this goes 7. I think we're getting 3 game 7s in the West. I really think we're looking at 3 really good series. I'm going to take Minnesota plus the game and a half. I wouldn't be shocked if they win. Again, I don't have the guts to pick against LeBron and Luka, especially with home court, but I think this is a very competitive series, and I don't think they should be a $2 favorite.
Well, you said you have trust issues with the Clippers. I have trust issues with the Knicks. Everyone here in New York is all excited about the Knicks and the playoffs. I've got a friend going tomorrow. She's super pumped. I don't really care until the Knicks prove otherwise. And they're laying minus 420 for the series. That's absurd. How are you going to bet the series?
I completely agree. I was shocked this is minus 420. I'm shocked more people aren't on the Pistons. I really like Detroit in the series. I think, and this is going to be a controversial take, I think they might have the best player in the series in Cunningham. The Knicks have struggled all year to beat good teams, and the Pistons are a good team. If you just look since the All-Star break, Knicks are 15-12, and Pistons are 15-13, or vice versa, and the Pistons have a better net rating by a good 4 points or so. We've seen it last year with the Knicks. Thibodeau has a habit of losing these series, especially when he has home court. His teams just get hurt, and they run out of gas because he plays them so much during the regular season. He's the opposite of load management. I like the Pistons here. I took some plus 330, and I think if you're really going bang for your buck, if the Pistons are going to win the series, they're not going to sweep. They're probably not going to win in 5. It would be hard to win a game 7 at Madison Square Garden. Pistons in 6 pays 8-1, 9-1. If you shop around, there's different prices. I think if they're going to win, it's steal one early, hold serve, and then close it out at home in 6. I love the Pistons in 6 at plus 800. I think they're very live to win the series. I'm going to pick them. I think we're getting an upset here. I think the Pistons win the series.
Real quick, Will, 15 seconds because we got to let you go. You had an MLB play you wanted to give out?
Yeah, bad weather in Colorado, 30 degrees, wind blowing in. Usually that's a hitter's haven, but I'm going to go under 4.5 first 5. Gore against Dollander, who's been shaky here, but he's a big-time prospect. So under 4.5 in the first 5, Rockies and Nats.
You're awesome, Will. Thanks for the time, buddy. We appreciate it.
All right. See you. Thanks.
I actually did end up firing a small little itty bitty baby bet on the Nationals minus 130 this morning, so we shall see. When we come back, we're going to shift gears to the NHL postseason. Gets underway tomorrow as well as the NBA playoffs. We got 2 early series in hockey. Andy Francess is going to help us break down some of the more bettable sets, plus why he thinks Kings Oilers has this NFL comp. You won't want to miss it.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to bet smarter? Start with Smarter Insights. Right now on VSiN.com, you can check out our guy Greg Peterson's best bets in Major League Baseball, our VSiN staff wagers for the NBA postseason, and Nigel Seeley's Premier League picks. And later today, don't forget to check out Zach Cohen with his NBA best bets and player props. Steve Makinen's MLB trends and systems, and Adam Burke's daily article, all right now available at VSiN.com. When you sign up for our summer special, just $59, you get full VSiN Pro access to everything we do through August 1st. Just head over to VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up today. Speaking of props, I'm with the prop queen, Ariel Epstein, today. Stormy Buonantony with you as we welcome you back here to Money Moves, and want to give a few minutes to the NHL postseason, which is about to get underway in full tomorrow. The regular season put a bow on everything yesterday. And Ariel, actually, before we get into that, I want to give a little bit of props and shout out to Alex Ovechkin, who, despite a meaningless loss last night in Pittsburgh, scored another goal, adding to the career record goal total. He's at 897, had 44 on the year. We bet his preseason goal total over 29.5.
Wow.
I know. So that's the number. He breaks his leg and still just soars over. The Caps were awesome this year. I'm curious what that's going to look like now as they head into the postseason. But how fun, even for you as somebody who doesn't bet or watch a ton of hockey, to see that ride and him accomplish such an incredible feat.
It took Team USA facing Team Canada for me to watch hockey for the first time this season. Then it took Alex Ovechkin going for the goal record for me to watch it a second time this season. No hate on a hockey game. I just have a lot of other things to do. Alex Ovechkin's had a hell of a career, and my favorite part is listening to all of the people in the media who were so excited for him, and the fact that Ovechkin allowed for the media to be part of his celebrations. That is something that stands out about how great he is, even just off the ice.
Oh my gosh, him singing Bands Make Her Dance in the locker room is a memory that will forever be just burned into my brain. But yes, it's been such a fun ride. At least now as we get to the postseason, we won't have any more mid-game ceremonies. So let's get to the action. And the Caps will face the Montreal Canadiens in the first round. They're big favorite, minus 330. Canadiens available plus 260. The Caps in game 1 in Washington, more than a $2 favorite. You'll notice the goal totals in all of these games are going to be lower. So typically in the NHL, we see goal totals from 5.5 to 6.5 across the board in these round 1 game 1s in the series. They're all sitting at 5.5 right now. A good chunk of them actually juiced toward the under as well. And that's because we're going to talk about this a lot over the course of the next few months before we reach the Stanley Cup final. The NHL postseason is a different season than the NHL regular season. It just is. The games are tighter checking. It is harder. There's more defense. The goaltending stands up. It's a very different style of hockey that you're going to see in the playoffs than we typically see in the NHL's regular season. A couple odds shifting that I think is important to mention as well in the Stanley Cup final market right now, Ariel. The Stars are a team that we've been talking about a lot lately as one not to buy in on. And this was before all of the injuries transpired, because I always get sucked in by the Dallas Stars. And I remember, you talked about this before the MLB season started with the Padres. They're one of those teams that they suck you in, and they have this great regular season, and they have all this talent. And then what inevitably happens in the postseason? Things fall apart, and they're not the team that you thought they were. That's what happens with the Dallas Stars. So they were the favorites to win the Stanley Cup at plus 650. They are now 9-1 on the board and a plus 120 dog in their opening round series to the Colorado Avalanche. They have had a handful of injuries. They did just get Tyler Seguin back. There's questions about Miro Heiskanen, but then Jason Robertson gets injured in the second period of their regular season finale against Nashville, didn't return. He left the arena in a knee brace. I haven't heard anything firm on his status since. And so for a team that I already knew had hurt me in the past, now they're actually hurt. And speaking of which, so let's get into this a little bit more. We've got a great guest who's joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, Andy Francess. You can check out the Andy Francess YouTube channel right now, daily NHL betting videos. He's got some in-depth individual series previews up right now. And can we go there real quickly, Andy? Because the Stars are a team I feel like is so hard to handicap because of their injuries, despite the great regular season that they've had.
I can't tell you how livid I am right now that I was not able to get my camera to work and that I have to use the MacBook Pro camera, which now is flickering my Price is Right screen.
I would never have known.
I'm a stickler for production, and this is just murdering me on the inside right now that I couldn't figure this out in the short amount of time that I had to come on here. So the Dallas Stars, hard to handicap because of the injuries. Yeah, I mean, by injuries, I assume you mean obviously Heiskanen, which is huge on the back end. He eats 30 minutes. And now Jason Robertson, who I was never all that high on, but many people are when you look at his stats and whatnot. The Dallas Stars were the Stanley Cup favorites pretty much after they made that Rantanen trade, which is really just an overreaction. But you got to think they're somewhat the underdogs now, despite the fact they have a ton of depth. But is there something in particular that you were wondering, should they be favored or not be favored, or what were you guys kind of talking about?
I'm just saying the Dallas Stars are a team that's hurt me so many times before that I already didn't want to bet them, and now their odds have moved so much because of these injuries and the questions at Jason Robertson. The Avalanche are favored now in this first round series, despite how much the Stars have been favored forever. What's your view on this set? Do you think they can prevail, or is this Colorado's to win?
Well, yeah, considering if they were fully healthy, I would slightly tip this toward the Dallas Stars. My theory on teams like the way the NHL playoff works, it's a grind, it's grueling. When you see the injury list of the team who makes it to the Stanley Cup final, when they begrudgingly have to release the list at the end of after the playoffs, you see just how injured everybody was. And that accrues throughout 4 rounds. So when you go through round after round after round, you get kind of slightly diminished versions of a team. And the worst time you could be playing the Colorado Avalanche, a team with a ton of speed and a ton of skill, is in round 1. And the Winnipeg Jets found that out last year because all of their guys are fully healthy. And now they're adding Gabe Landeskog. This is the best top 9 that they've had since they've won the Stanley Cup. And then on the flip side, you've had Dallas, who've had a couple long playoff runs in a row. And just like with Edmonton and other teams who have multiple long runs in a row, those injuries start to accrue, and you're starting to see that. So without Heiskanen, without Robertson, and if you're thinking on betting them to win the Stanley Cup, who has a worse road than the Dallas Stars? You got to beat the Avalanche. Then you're probably going to have to beat the President's Trophy winners. Then you're going to have to beat the previous Stanley Cup winners in the Vegas Golden Knights, or the runner-up last year in the Oilers, most likely. And then maybe a team like the Panthers or the Lightning. That is a nightmare gauntlet. So you're not even getting any good value on it. I would just be staying away from the Stars unless they made it to the next round, and then I'd reevaluate because they'd probably get Heiskanen back. So, yeah, I have minimal faith in the Stars. I'm all about the scam brackets. That's what I call the easier side with the more scam teams. If you're picking teams to go further, just eliminate as many difficult rounds as possible, and that side of the bracket is just brutal.
That's the best part of the Stanley Cup playoffs, because it's the only playoff. It's so unpredictable. Now, I'm looking at this series between the Panthers and the Lightning, where you've got the Panthers at -115, the Lightning at -105 on the series. But then you look at the Stanley Cup odds, and you've got the Panthers at +750 and the Lightning at 10-1, about 4 teams in between those two. So why is it so close in the series?
Because many people surmise, and I probably would be one of them, that the best two teams in the entire East are playing in that series. I would take the Lightning over anybody on the Metro side of the bracket. I think most people would. I would take them over Toronto, and I would absolutely take Florida overall. Florida's beat all these teams. Florida's beat the Lightning. They've beat Toronto. They've beat Carolina conference final. They beat every single one of these teams. So you have it's really a damn shame that they're playing in the first round. This is 1,000% a conference final, and it would have been great to see in the conference finals. The last 4 Eastern Conference champions playing in the conference final, and there's a mini Bills-Chiefs thing going on here. This is the 4th time in 5 years that they're meeting in the playoffs. When Tampa was a juggernaut, and they went to 3 straight Cup finals, they won the first 2. Then there was a little, passing of the torch. Then Florida waxed them last year and are slightly favored this year. But this series looks to be probably the closest of all 4.
And I know you made a similar comp in Oilers Kings as well, considering this is going to be the 4th straight year that we've seen them go head to head. Because we didn't get you the full time, Andy, would you be able to hang out with us for a couple more minutes? We have to get a commercial break, but I would love your thoughts on a couple more things.
I'll stay with you till midnight.
Well, I won't ask you to do that, but you are awesome. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. More Andy Francess breaking down the NHL postseason when we return here on Money Moves.